MMA Rants and Raves, The Ultimate Fighter Season 13 coaches have been chosen. And boy, does it come as a big surprise to me. And when I say big, I literally mean big. 2 big heavyweights are going to be the coaches of Season 13. And I want to make a point here. If you look at all the past shows that they had, all right, in The Ultimate Fighter, I don't think there was so many turn of events that took place that led up to the choosing of the coaches, all right, than this season. And let me get into it. I mean, basically, Brock Lesnar, right? He's going to be one of the coaches. Look what's happened to him. I mean, he's coming off a devastating loss. I mean, a really devastating loss. I mean, this is obviously his worst loss, worse than the other loss against Frank Mir where he got caught in a submission. And, he came back from that. He said it won't happen again, and, it didn't. And it shows, how much he could learn and protect himself and learn from his mistakes. But this fight was different because, he got beaten in his own game. I mean, he got wrestled. He was outstruck. So, it's a really tough loss. And then, of course, there was talk. I mean, he walked past one of his WWE colleagues or counterparts, and there was some kind of talk or something. And then after that, there was talk about him maybe going back to the WWE. They didn't know what his future was going to be, right? And now, of course, you have Cain Velasquez. Just like you didn't know what Brock Lesnar's future was going to be, they don't know what his future was going to be because, I don't know if you heard, he had a serious injury in that fight. He had a rotator cuff tear, right? And I remember, watching pitching as a kid. When pitchers had that, for some it was like considered like the end of their career. I mean, it's a serious injury. Now, what I heard was that the tear was 90%. That is serious. So the question is, if he has a surgery, how effective will he be if he comes back? Will he be 100%? So, as far as the aftermath of the fight, Velasquez may have had more to lose than Brock Lesnar, despite the fact that he got the belt. I mean, it's a devastating thing to hear as far as, what happened. And, hopefully he can come back 100% because we know how much he depends on his striking. We saw how great his striking has become, from fighting in the Czech Congo fight and Ben Rothwell. And then, in Nogueira fight and Brock Lesnar, we see how good his striking has become. So, I mean, hope he can come back 100%. So, the point is you have all that going on, and now, of course, you have Junior Dos Santos. What's going to happen with him, right? I mean, here he is. He's months already on the sidelines, after the Roy Nelson fight. He's ready to go. And now he might have to wait, 8 months or more to fight again. So what is he supposed to do, right? So there's a lot of question marks and a lot of structuring that has to be done here. So what happens, they're able to actually get Brock Lesnar to become a coach. It's going to make Dos Santos happy. Obviously, he wants his title shot, but, if he is a coach and he loses the fight against the other coach, he might not get that title shot. So, the point is they have to make the offer good enough. And what better offer can you give somebody than to be a coach in The Ultimate Fighter? You get paid for that. A lot of people are going to see you. You're going to get more fans. And look who you're coaching against. You're coaching against the UFC's biggest superstar. So that's really going to get you exposure. So obviously it was an offer he couldn't refuse, and he took it. Well, now that these guys are going to be coaching, they're going to be fighting. So let's talk about this fight. I think this is going to be a very intriguing matchup. And the reason is because the only type of fighter that I see who has a chance against Junior Dos Santos is a guy who is not a striker. I don't see anybody being able to strike with Junior Dos Santos as a heavyweight, except Fedor. Fedor is the only guy that I can actually envision striking with him. I mean, he's so dangerous. He's so explosive, so quick. I mean, I've never seen a man, basically level his opponents one after the other in recent times. Top-ranked heavyweights demolishing top-ranked heavyweights one after the other. It's incredible how dangerous this guy is. The only way I actually see somebody having a chance against him is to take him out of his element. And, what better guy to do that than Brock Lesnar? I mean, this is a guy, he's a huge, huge guy. He's very powerful, quick, and he's really good at wrestling. One of the best out there. Division I, NCAA champion. He has, a really impressive resume in wrestling. So, he's gonna use his wrestling to take him out of that stand-up element. He has to. And what he has to work on, obviously, is the butterfly guard and guys getting back to their feet. And unfortunately, that's what Dos Santos has proven to do so well. He's been taken down, but he's gotten back to his feet. He's like a jackrabbit. You take him down, he just pops right back up. And that's not good for Lesnar. He has got to take him down. He has to hold him down. And one thing, that I see him having to work on is that butterfly guard and also the hip escapes, because that's what Dos Santos seems to do well. He's got good hips, he's powerful, and he's quick. So he likes to get back to his feet and, force the fight into a stand-up. That's what he likes to do. He likes to stand up. He likes his boxing. Now, there's something else I want to mention about Brock Lesnar. This is a guy that has trained with the Natural. I mean, he trained with Randy the Natural Couture. And nobody does Greco-Roman with the cage than Randy the Natural Couture. Now, it's kind of interesting that the Ultimate Fighter is going to be in Las Vegas. I mean, he should go over to Extreme Couture and work with Randy, as far as the Greco-Roman, because I saw something in the Velasquez fight which would give Brock Lesnar a good advantage in this fight, and that's his size. He basically walks in. When he walks in, he usually has a size advantage over his opponents. Now, I remember when he had Velasquez against that cage, he was just looking, it seemed, just to get a takedown. And I'm like, use the cage, do what Randy does, do some dirty boxing, throw some elbows, knees, try to weigh your opponent down. Soften them up if you want to get a takedown, but, get something done while you have him up against the cage, especially a guy like this. You don't want him getting away, because then you might get hit one of those bombs. I mean, that's how dangerous Dos Santos is. What you really want to do is try to immobilize him. That's the way I see you having a chance against him. So, if he works on his Greco-Roman and also getting a guy down, and controlling them better, of course, so they won't get back to their feet. That's the key for Brock Lesnar. If he can do this, he can have a really good chance of winning this fight. Of course, it's a lot easier said than done, but, if you look at past fights and you look at losses, you have to learn from them. That's the best thing about a loss, that you can learn something from it, right? Nobody wants to lose, but the point is, take something out of it that you can learn to bring into the next fight. And that's what I saw. I saw that he can do some Greco-Roman, because he is a wrestler, and he's a grappler. So if he could learn that, and he's trained with Randy, if he can work with Randy on that, he can be really effective, because I saw him doing that. He was holding his opponent against the cage, but he's got to do something while he has him there and just try to get a takedown. Now, as far as Dos Santos is concerned, all he has to do is keep on doing what he's doing, because since he's been in the UFC and for a very long time, he hasn't lost a fight. He just basically has to, use his excellent takedown defense and just force this fight into a stand-up war. That's all he has to do. Of course, it's a lot easier said than done when you're going up against Brock Lesnar. And, of course, he hasn't faced a guy, with his kind of wrestling skills. He faced Roy Nelson. Was a good wrestler, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, good grappler, but, he's not on the level of a Brock Lesnar, as far as physically, as far as his quickness, and as far as his level as a wrestler. So, I mean, the fight that he had against Nelson was impressive as far as, stuffing takedowns, because like I said, Nelson's a good wrestler, so he's shown that he can, stuff takedowns, and his takedown defense is good, but the ultimate test would be against Brock Lesnar. Can he stuff his takedowns? And he's going to have to do that. He's going to have to be able to do that. And if he can't, can he get back to his feet? Can he do what he does by getting back to his feet? He's got really good hips. He's able to, get back to his feet and spring back up again. He's got powerful legs, lower body, and he's quick. So it's two things. He has to do those two things, and that's the key. If he can do that, I see him winning this fight. It's it's as simple as that. His stand-up is just so dangerous. It's so good, so polished. I mean, there's nobody that can stand with this guy. Like I said, Fedor's the only guy that I can see standing with this guy. Maybe Overeem, maybe him too. But anyway, it should be a really huge show this season, because Brock Lesnar is not only the UFC's biggest superstar, he's also a pay-per-view king. I read that he was estimated to have brought in 2,100,000 pay-per-view buys in 2010 alone. All right? That's just 2 events, 2 fights that he had. 2,100,000 pay-per-view buys. I mean, the only other guy that's done 1 million pay-per-view buys per fight, per show, is Mike Tyson. Back in 1996, all right? During his time. Now keep in mind, he fought 3 times during that year. Lesnar fought twice and over 2 million pay-per-view buys. I mean, that's just extraordinary. That's how many people want to watch this guy. He's a huge superstar. Now, the point is, just imagine this. He's going from bringing all these pay-per-view buys in, and now he's coming from, that, to going into this reality show where he's going to be a coach. Now, this is free TV. People don't have to buy pay-per-views to watch him. Now, it's free. So he is actually going into this show. And then just think of the exposure that he's going to give the Ultimate Fighter reality show. Now, keep in mind, this is already a very big show. The UFC attributes much of its success to this reality show. So it's a high-rated show as it is. Just imagine if he's going to come there and he's going to be a coach, how much more exposure he's going to give the show and what it could do for mixed martial arts. I mean, that's what a big superstar he is. I mean, people want to see this guy perform. I mean, it's just going to be huge. And the implications of it, of course, whoever wins this fight gets a title shot. So, I can imagine a lot of people are going to be watching, Brock Lesnar with the personality that he is. And, of course, Junior Dos Santos, that's going to be interesting. I'm sure he's going to get some interesting coaches, working and training out of Black House. That should be pretty exciting as far as the people that are going to come in, on both sides. Can't wait for this season. So would like to know what you think about Season 13, the coaches, and the upcoming fight between Brock Lesnar and Junior Dos Santos. Please leave your comments below the video, rate this video, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in.